Welcome to Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On with Janice Formichella. I'm Janice Formichella, a breakup coach passionate about supporting others to learn from their breakups, overcome loneliness, love being single, and see the end of a relationship as the beginning of a magical, sexy new chapter in life. I am here each week to share with you the tools that I have learned through my own painful breakups, through hitting rock bottom more than once, and through working with people all around the world to heal their broken hearts. If you are looking for hope and strength to move on from your breakup and resources to enjoy your new life, you are in the right place, and I've got your back. Have you ever thought to yourself, what the hell was I thinking when it comes to somebody who you dated in the past? Or maybe someone who you're currently dating. Who knows? That is what we are talking about today. The phenomenon of looking back and just not understanding your thought process when it comes to a relationship. And I am joined by three of my favorite co-hosts and good friends. And this is really cool. We are in 4 different time zones. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I'm going to go quickly through. Believe it or not, all 4 of us have relationships that make us think, what was I thinking? And that is probably because we've all been there. I'm going to go to the top, Jessie Marie. And everybody has been on the show several times, which is really, really cool. Hey, girl, how are you?
Hi.
How's Auckland?
It is sunny today, finally. We're coming out of winter, I think. Finally. Hopefully.
So? Okay.
I hope.
Jessie, do you have an Instagram where people can go and hang out with you?
I do. It is Jessie Marie Co. So it's JessieMarieeCo. And that's just on Instagram at the moment. You can find me there.
Amazing. That's where I hang out as well. So everyone go to the show notes. Christine Lalonde of 50 Shades of Bullshit. Hello. How are you?
Hello. Happy to be back. I love all you guys. So I'm Christine, and I'm the host of 50 Shades of Bullshit. It's a podcast on modern dating, finding love, and finding yourself.
She just got done recording. Everybody go check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. It's hilarious. And Christine has some stories that I happen to know to be hilarious because I've been on the journey with her a few years now. And Julie Demsey.
Hello, it's great to be back, dialing in here from Australia, where we are also getting warm. We've got a false sense that we are coming into spring. With one day it's great, and the next it's feeling like winter again. So I am a rapid results mindset coach and hypnotherapist, and you can find me on my website at Julie Demsey, JuliDemsey.com, and on Insta and Facebook at those at my name as well.
I'm never going to let you come on the show without mentioning your awesome book that's called Found, Swiping Right on Me to Find Love. Go to the show notes. I genuinely enjoyed it. It's like you have this moment where you get one of your friends' books and you're like, I'm just going to commit and see what happens. And with yours, I was riveted. I read it in less than a week. So yeah, go and check it out. All right. What the hell was I thinking? Let's go through really quick. Let's just get into it. I think I'll start. And then everybody, let's just go. And I asked you to think one partner who you had in mind. I have a man I dated a couple of years ago who Jessie and Christine are well aware of. I don't think that Julie is. Shall we call him No Veggie Boy because he refused to eat anything fresh, which first of all was just, come on, chime in.
Oh, all I can think is call him Scurvy Boy.
Scurvy Boy. Okay. I was just journaling about this, just as far as, what attracted me to him? Why did I stay? What were the problems? What did I learn? He was frankly not good enough for me. And just a lot of general issues. And looking back, I cringe pretty much thinking about it. There were red flags from the very beginning. There were strange things that happened all throughout the relationship. And I stayed in it for various reasons. And looking back is painful, to say the least. So we'll get into we'll get into more of the details as we go. And yeah, no, honestly, it is like I have a physical reaction to the whole thing. What about you, Christine?
Yeah, it was, I guess it would be 2 years right now that I stopped seeing him. I was a what the fuck was I thinking moment when, I don't really believe in a great amount of long distance relationships. I think that some can maintain and some people have good luck with it, which is great. I do not. I met this douche off of, what is it called? We're just going to call him Mr. Douche.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, let's have nicknames. Okay,
Yeah.
we've got Scurvy Boy. We've got Mr. Douche. Is that okay? Fine.
Yeah, Mr. Douche. Mr. Douche, I met on Clubhouse. He contacted me to ask me to work with him on a production project, he then proceeded to be seriously a catfish and not who he said he was, not anything.
Well, he was a real man.
He was a real person.
He was.
Well, we go for bare minimum here.
Yeah.
Yeah, bare minimum. He was a
Man.
human being. He was a man.
Debatable if he was a man. You mean he was a male?
He was male. He was not a man. He looked nothing like he presented himself to be, and I was smart enough to say screw it, and I went to visit him, but thank God.
Yeah, which was good. The relationship had been advancing. You guys were starting to make potential plans for the future, and you did potentially the right thing, which is fly yourself out to meet him, which I did discourage you against at the time. Just saying. So I'm like, you should pay for your ticket, girl. And you sent a selfie to me from the car, and I was full on like, no.
I was in the car going.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. No, I was instantly like, no, this is.
I was like, hey, let's take a selfie together. Hi. And then I sent it to everybody going, what the fuck is wrong with me?
And it proceeded to get weirder and weirder. And I hope that you'll give us some details.
Yeah.
Julie, you had, I think, kind of a different take on this whole thing. What is your what was I thinking experience?
Oh, gosh. I think my take on this thing is that for being a person who is a professional now at dealing with all of this, how many mistakes I have made.
Yeah, it's good to point out all of us.
Which actually, helps me to help other people. But the one that I'll talk about today was I was divorced. I dated and played around for a while. Then I had a relationship with a guy that isn't what the story is going to be about, but he was very selfish, he seemed like he was really giving, but he was only giving when it was something he wanted to do. And so moving out of that relationship and into a new one with, I will call this one the child, because he was much younger than I was. And, but that wasn't the biggest sticking point. He, was just of a different place and a different caliber. I was a business executive. He had a minimum wage job. He had lost his license, so he couldn't drive.
Classy.
I was found out that he was working for his stepdad at this minimum wage job. And I was interested when we started because he was talking grand ideas of this business he was going to start, and I thought he was a real self-starter.
Mm.
I didn't realize we went on a first date and everything seemed lovely. It seemed like somebody I could have maybe a short-term relationship with or just have some fun with. And I didn't realize that when he paid for dinner that evening, that was his weekly food allowance. So he was pretty much not eating.
What?
I felt horrible afterwards when I learned this. But really what happened was he come to learn after we'd been dating for a while, he'd been incarcerated right out of high school. So he never grew up or learned how to take care of himself. And as lovely and adoring as he was about me, like his whole world ended up centering around me. And I realized that I was running two people's lives because he didn't know how to run his own life. And so the final straw, I think, was when his car broke down and he wanted to use, I was in the States at the time, my AAA service. And I'm like, it doesn't quite work that way, and didn't know what to do or how to handle this. And I'm like, this guy can't handle anything in life. And it's time to call it. So I am embarrassed to say we spent almost a year together, and I should have ended it like after that first date.
Well,
But
we're
he
going to
was
talk
a
about
lovely
giving yourself
person.
grace. For
Yeah,
sure.
he was a lovely person. He didn't do anything wrong. He just wasn't the person for me, and I should have seen that more clearly.
I actually want another layer of the whole thing with me dating Scurvy Boy was I actually also found out into the relationship that he didn't have a license, that he was on probation and had been on probation and wasn't even trying to get off probation. He had to go in and test every week. He wasn't even trying. I was horrified when I found out. No, it was crazy. Driving to work every single day without a license.
Can I call you Mommy Julie? Just also. Like, that's madness. That's sort of, I guess that mine's sort of similar, right? Like I have two back to back. So one of them, the end of one led to the beginning of the other, and both of them were bad. Okay. So I was with a guy, what do I want to call him? He was my mystery.
Tell us the story. And
Yeah. Okay. So basically we met, we'd gone to high school together. So I'm young at this point. I'm like 18, 20, around that time.
Well, you are younger than all of us, but
yeah.
Not
I know, but I
young.
look back and I'm like, maybe I can blame my youth. Maybe I can blame being 18 through to 20. Yeah, dated this guy. I was into mysterious boys. Turns out that means narcissism. And actually crazy because that ended, but years later, so the beginning of lockdown for us here in 2020, he messages me. We hadn't spoken for 10 years, messages me, and he's like, hey, I've got something I need to ask you. Is it okay if I give you a call? And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then he calls me, tries to make some fucking small talk. And I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Just get to the fucking point. He was like, so that last time we had sex, do you think that I raped you? Shit you not. 10 years ago. And I was like, what the fuck? So he was like, I'm really sorry for how I was. Like, I've actually been diagnosed with like voices in his head, like that kind of crazy. And I was like, no. We both regretted that, but I gave my consent at the time. But 10 years later, why are you asking me this? Mm-hmm. I didn't care. But the breakup with him, so that night that he's talking about was the start of my next relationship, basically. So we had that happen. It was a huge fight. Then I went and did a photo shoot. This other guy whose brother I went to high school with and was friends with, I didn't like him anyway. He was a bit of a dickhead. But he asked me on a date. And because I was mad at my ex, I was like, fuck yeah, went on a date. It was really lovely. He dropped me home the next day and cooked my mum and I like breakfast and stuff. So like instant green flags. Yeah. I was living with mum at the time because I was at uni.
No, I understand. It's just kind of crazy to wake up and think, can I make your mom and you breakfast?
Like, look, because we stayed at his friend's house and like he dropped me home. So he'd met my mum that night because we dropped my car home and then he drove me and then drove me home and cooked mum and I breakfast because he was a chef or is a chef. That whole relationship, it took me some time to realize that I was in an abusive relationship because he was so lovely and charming and he'd only do abusive things when he was drinking. But it got progressively worse. He worked in the military, still does work in the military. And there's a drinking culture there. So before we got together, he'd had a DIC, and
What
then
is this?
whilst drunken, like
Same as our DUI.
Oh,
yeah,
that's kind of what I
DUI.
figured. Okay, so we have 3 men with legal issues of the 4 of us.
It gets better. When we were together, he did it again.
Did what? Got a
He went
DUI?
drunk. Yeah. I remember one night being like, he's like, I won't be home late. And this is when shit was really falling apart. I won't be home late. And it was like, I had to shoot the next day. My car was fucked. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, go out drinking with your friends, whatever. 2 a.m. I was like, where the fuck is he? I called and some woman answered his phone and I was like, put him on. And they were like, he's busy. I can't. And I was like, what? She was like, he's talking to a police officer. He'd driven them home because he was trying to do the right thing and got pulled over and was over the limit. They were sober. The girls that he was driving home were sober.
That's crazy.
Needless to say.
Yeah, okay. So men with drinking problems, this is a common theme. And Christine didn't mention it, but hers was as well, but without the legal issues. I do want to say I've been in a very abusive relationship. I'm not going to talk about that today, though, because there's a lot of like kind of mind fuckery and psychology that goes into why you stay with that. Mine is going to be just a bloke who I just generally regret. So thank you everybody for sharing. Let's get into, I guess, a little bit of what leads us to feel this way. And I just want anyone to interject. Obviously, a little of embarrassment. I don't know that that's fully my thing. I mean, this is a handsome guy, dresses well. Not all my friends really knew the details. So I wouldn't say embarrassment for me. What about the 3 of you?
I was embarrassed once everybody could see what he looked like for real. I was like, what? Yeah. It was weird because as he aged, his picture he had used was when he was a little bit younger. And as he aged, his head got bigger and his body got smaller. And he looked skeletal and his teeth looked like horse teeth. They were huge. He just was a fucking weirdo. And I guess I didn't know he looked like that, obviously, because he was, using pictures for his video chats with me. He would sit in the dark. He would sit at a certain angle. So it was never a true, thing. That's why we started talking at the end of May. So it was June, July, beginning of August that he was telling me he was in love with me, even though we were mainly talking about, production, because I produce documentaries and docuseries and things like that. And he wanted me to help him with an idea, which I did, but he liked to parlay that into private time a lot and talk personal. And then he was like determined to say he was going to sell his amazing 5-bedroom, gorgeous house and move in with me. And I was like, dude, I have a 15-year-old daughter. You're not moving into my house. I don't even know you. I've never even met you. So I flew to Oklahoma to see him, and it was very eye-opening. And
I remember when Christine's going back to the airport
trip,
she had him drop her off like 5 hours early.
I had him take me back to the airport early, and I took a nap in the airport.
I'm surprised you didn't just get in the car, take the selfie, and be like, leave me here.
I did not know what I was going to do, though. And each day got progressively worse because I didn't want him to touch me. I didn't want to touch him. And all he wanted was to have this intimate relationship. And he had a tiny wee-wee. And it was like terrible. I mean, tiny. He was like 6'4", 6'2", something like that. He was very tall. I just didn't want him to even come near me, and it was getting progressively worse the whole 3 days I was there. And I thought
they would remain in touch like I did with my kind of weirdo. And then, yeah, eventually with all of these types of men, it does implode in your face. I had one experience where we were at a bar with a bunch of my friends and he started crying in front of everybody.
I remember
So-
you telling me about that.
Yeah, it was bad. And we're like, okay, you got to get out of here. Like, you can't sit in the middle of the bar and cry. Like,
I remember you mentioning that.
That's hilarious.
yes. I really want to talk about this. Well, first of all, I do want to say all of us are amazing women who are on the personal development train. And so I do think we can get to the point where we look back with just, I was in a different time. Like, I've come a long way since then. Partially the reason why I do feel this cringe is that after I dated Scurvy, I dated someone else who was quite a step up, and now I'm dating someone who's like 5 steps up. And so you do look back and you're like, wow, I found this great thing. Like, whoa, why was I wasting my time? Like, why was I settling? Does that I bet that resonates with you, especially Julie.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because, again, I think this guy's a good person, right? He just wasn't a person for me. And he did nothing to me that was ill-intentioned. He just loved me and adored me. He said so we had dinner with his mom and stepdad once.
Who
and
paid?
The age range was that I was smack dab in the middle of his parents and he. And we were having dinner and I felt like there were 3 adults and a child at the table. And that's how the conversation went. And it was just like, wow. And he actually, he was close to his mom because they were close in age. She had him very young and said to her, what is this remarkable woman doing with me? And she said to him, well, it's hard to find good company. And there's something to that. And there definitely was, like, for a small period of time, it was just nice to have somebody who was there for me. And then it got cloying. And then when I realized that I was running 2 people's lives, it got to be too much. And then, and I was upfront from the beginning with him. I said to him, because I'd have to pay for things. Like, we went away for a weekend with my friends. He couldn't afford to do that. And I said, listen, I'm happy to pay for you to fly here because you are my partner and I want my partner with me.
Okay.
So I'm offering and I'd like you to come. And if you don't come, then I'm going to have somebody else come with me. So not my partner, but I just wanted him to feel comfortable with that. And I also had said up front, I said, this works now. At a point, if it doesn't, I'll let you know. And it was a very adult seemingly conversation. The one when I let him know this is no longer working, he basically stomped up and down like a child, grabbed a trash bag, grabbed all of his stuff that was in my house, threw it in, put it in the trash bag, and stomped out of my house.
That's
He
hilarious.
threw away his own shit.
And I literally sat there going, well, I got what I asked for. I mean, he behaved exactly as expected. The only issue there was I felt badly that I hurt this person. I was going to say man, but I don't know.
Child.
Person.
Mr. or the child.
Yeah. And
Child.
it really, didn't do anything to add a lot of value to my life that I deserve. Like you said, Janice, you're, 5 steps up and that's where I'm at right now. Like, I do believe I learned from that, especially as a career woman. You need a partner to be as an equal. It's really important. I think Sheryl Sandberg talked about that in her book, about how important choosing the right significant other is to help elevate your career. And that's something that I really look at now, because you want that person to be that sounding board that's going to help raise you up. And he just had no clue how to do that. Like, he would have if he could have. He just wasn't in that realm. And so that kind of thing is, to me, really important, to have somebody who's an equal partner on all levels.
Well, this brings up a couple things, and then I have something hilarious that I want to cover. So what attracted you to him in the first place?
He was a good-looking guy, and he was very funny. He had a good sense of humor, And I think we just had some, we met online and we just had some good banter going back and forth. And I think it was at a time when I didn't have that banter with anyone else. Everyone else seemed bland.
Okay. Christine, was it the attention with
It was during a time that I was speaking to a lot of professionals for my podcast that were talking about how long distance could work, just give it a shot. And when I met him through Clubhouse is all about the voice, all about talking. And he had an exceptionally sexy voice.
Yes.
And he played on that, which was weird because it was kind of disgusting how he even played on it with other men in Clubhouse. It was just gross and weird.
Okay, so they started having this little business together, and Christine would say like, oh, should we Zoom? Should we do this? He was insistent on having all of their like business meetings on Clubhouse. Like really, like, oh, we need to talk about why Clubhouse is so much better than Zoom. And definitely a sexy voice. Plus he spoke French as well. So.
Yeah, well, he lived in France for over 20 years, and that was super appealing to me because I love all things en français. So, I love that. And I just, I really enjoyed having somebody after we would work to just talk with and have these in-depth conversations, and highly intelligent, and it's kind of sexy, and it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I even said to my daughter, I think I'm falling in love with him. He might be the one. I mean, he really was really exceptional. And then, obviously I met him in person, and that just
I want to talk in a bit about how all these relationships ended, because hers was weird. But first, okay, let's touch on one of the reasons some of these relationships fall apart. Are you aware of a syndrome called Sudden Repulsion Syndrome?
No, but I get sudden repulsion a lot by people.
Okay. I was doing a little bit of research last night. Just like, oh, what are the various directions we can take this episode? Okay, I'm going to try. Okay, there is a thing called Sudden Repulsion Syndrome. And I have to say, I could relate to this in this relationship, and then actually with someone in Melbourne. Okay, so according to Urban Dictionary, okay, SRS is a condition many people experience after dating an individual for a short amount of time. The individual is probably polite, nice, and generally pleasant to be around, but one day you suddenly find yourself disgusted by his or her appearance. You cannot ever see yourself establishing a physical relationship with this individual. And when you imagine it, okay, hold on. And when you imagine it, you vomit in your mouth a little. The consequence of SRS is that you end up feeling as though you must break it off immediately. So, and then I have something more serious that was from like Mind Body Green or something, but let's just keep with the funny stuff. Did anybody experience sudden repulsion syndrome in any of these relationships?
The opposite for me. The one that I stayed with this guy for 4 years, three or 4 years. So no, and he was away half the time because he was in the military. So half my relationship, he was overseas, and I didn't have to see him anyway.
Score.
But in hindsight, very big score. But I didn't like him to begin with. So like I went to high school with his younger brother. I had seen him around. He'd acted like a bit of an asshole. And then I think maybe out of spite, when he asked me out for coffee, I was like, oh, for a drink. I was like, okay. But he was attractive. Like he wasn't not attractive. He was just a dickhead. And then for some reason, I thought that wouldn't be a thing when we were in a relationship.
That you weren't attracted to him?
That he wouldn't be an asshole. Like, I don't know why. I think delusional 18-year-old, 19-year-old Jessie was like, yeah, this guy will change for me. So not sudden repulsion, but I've had that in other, like when I've started to see other people and I've just been like, oh no.
Yeah, I think actually I want to do an entire episode on this because this used to be my pattern. And you guys are going to die laughing. I actually had this when I was living in Australia. I was really getting close with this guy, mostly through text because I was in Bali waiting for my visa to get approved. And we were talking constantly. And one day I seriously woke up and was like, ugh, like I don't want to text anymore. And this had been like such a pattern of mine, like really being into somebody and then just instantly thinking, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I remember when I was dating this guy, he actually, as far as what was I thinking, I'm not going to say his full name because I do have Australian friends who listen, but his name was Creepy S. Let's just put that. People decided he was creepy. And I was actually going out with him. And one day we were just like hanging around. Jesse, we were hanging around in Melbourne. And I remember we had been hanging around all day. And all of a sudden we were sitting there at the bar. And I just had this full body, like, take me home right now and leave. You know? And then, yeah, I broke up with him like a week later. So it was just like, boom for me. And I actually wrote in to Sex with Emily.
You didn't.
Yes. And I was just like, this is my thing. You know, like I'm really into these guys. And then just suddenly I don't want to date them anymore. I was like, it's almost an instant thing. Like, is this normal? What should I do?
I have the same thing. It's like I used to find something weird or off, like purposely look for things that would be like, ew. And then I'd be all like creeped out and it's like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm going to be sick. You know, that kind of thing. I think I have had that.
You've had SRS.
People like make me sick.
I mean, people make me sick and I don't date them. So like,
people make me sick generally. Yes.
yeah.
I did have also some sexual encounters that did leave me very much like, I gotta get out. And then also I have to say, I don't know if anyone wants to speak to this except me, but I do struggle with those sexual memories as well, as far as like what was I thinking and just like the cringe factor. And that is kind of in my head a little. I
think I've like blanked it out intentionally. I think my brain has been like, you don't need to remember any of this. It was disappointing. Okay. Oh, I do remember the one before I got into the other one. Because he was all dark and mysterious. This was like, we're talking Twilight era, like, you know.
So he would have been the wolf man in the Twilight. Wasn't there a wolf and a vampire?
Yeah, there's a wolf and a vampire. No, vampire. He dressed up for my 18th birthday as a vampire. I shit you not. I have photos of it still. Why, Jesse? I was into vampires. Let's just get that out of the way.
It was a thing. It was a thing for a while.
So he was like, you know, dark, mysterious. And I think this is how I figured out I was into kink long before I was. He wanted to brand me one time when we were having sex. He wanted to like scratch his initial and I was like, oh, fuck no. I do not want any permanent marks on me from you, dickhead. But like,
from you.
That's probably the only one thing I have a memory being like, what were you thinking? Why were you attracted to this dark mysterious when really dark mysterious is not what you think it is?
Mysterious for a man, I think, is something completely different from mysterious as a woman, because I think it's actually very feminine quality. But
this was like that vampire era of like dark and mysterious. And
I understand. I get
broody, you know, like just awful. We were 18, you know, like 18,
my
19.
stories like from high school. I don't know.
I
don't even think about. And okay, all right, interesting. Julie, anything to add about any physical cringe? Either for the child or
you were talking about that, and there was one experience where the guy was just so bad that I'm just like, can you just finish so you can get off of me and I can go home and I don't ever want to see you again.
Had that been there.
Okay, so
it's like I wanted to tap him on the shoulder and go, can you move so I can go home?
I've had that.
Yeah, so let's just stop. I mean, for a second, I guess Christine very well knows that I went through this. And looking back, it was just such a clash of values because I am into health, like hella into health. I mean, this is like a daily thing. Oh, for me, I have this little journal here or bullet journal where I actually cross off all the exercise I do in a day and that the water I drink. I mean, this is a big thing in my life. And so, yeah, I did find myself in a relationship with someone who it was not a value of his. And I was going through a lot at the time, but yeah, that's another looking back, like what was I thinking? Like this was yeah, probably never really going to work because of that. And yeah, just kind of feeling weirded out by it constantly and just kind of forcing yourself to go on.
And why did we do that?
Yeah, I know.
Opposed to just saying, okay, goodbye, done, over, let's go.
Well, I can say for me, and then I'll go right to you, Christine. I, at the time, and also Christine, I mean, Christine and I were like physically with each other a lot last year, which I'm sad not this year. But I was going through like some very severe depression. And I constantly would talk to Christine about just the fact that it's not working. He's, the hygiene, the food. But because of what I was going through, I just did not want to go through a breakup. I'm like, I am already right to my breaking point. And if I have to then go through this, it's going to make me snap. And so that's partially why I stayed in it, for me.
You got to give yourself some grace on that one because he pretended to be a lot of things that he wasn't. And it was obvious why you would fall for him because I saw he was charming. I saw there were a lot of things about him that he was pretending to be. And then when he couldn't hold on to that anymore, because there is a point in people's lives that they cannot hold the crazy back. They can't hold the fake
this
back
is good.
anymore.
This is good. Mm-hmm.
And he did. That fell away fast. And you wised up quickly and you got the hell out of there.
Yeah. And then I'll go to Jesse. I love that you're saying this, Christine, because in the beginning it was just the companionship and the gifts and the trips and helping me with everything. And then as soon as it started falling apart, I will say that is also when all the health issues and the conflict of values became like much more of a thing. In the beginning, I wasn't thinking about it as much.
Well, he also wasn't showing that.
I mean,
you could physically see that he was a heavier man.
Yeah.
But, you could kind of write that off with how sweet he was, how kind he was, how generous he was.
And how fancy, too. I like fancy. And he was fancy.
You do like fancy. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And he was giving you leaning towards all the things that you love and it's easier to look past those things when you're presented
you're right.
With those things.
Especially when we were spending time together in California. I was thinking I had scored, but all right. Yeah. And this made me think so many things. Thank you.
I just want to reflect on like what Christine said. 90 days. Someone said to me the other day, 90 days. That's as long as someone can hold whatever fakeness that they have before they start showing their true colors. Yeah. So in 90 days, no one can hold it any longer than that. And I think that was, if you look about it, 3 months in, I guess that's why like in New Zealand, they have like a 3-month trial period on the employment contracts. You could be a good worker for 90 days, anything after that, and we'll see if you're really a problem.
I had an experience where somebody held it in for 6 months. So.
Wow. I was going to say it really is 3 to 6 months, somewhere in between there. I've heard a lot that it's 6 months. Yeah. Some people
so I just have to ask. So the first 6 months, and then like, what was the biggest thing after the 6 month mark where you were like, ugh?
Mine would be the physical abuse, the drinking. So I know, like, what? His drinking was already really bad. Like, it was all the time. And it was like, the excuses we made because we were young and like it's New Zealand and we have a very terrible binge drinking culture here. We'd go out to friends' houses and drink, and he would drink like pre-mixed bourbon. And he would just become a horrible human being. There was times, I remember one time We were at a friend's house, and I can't remember what I said, but I was sitting in like a lazy boy chair. He ran at me. We were outside, ran at me and pushed the chair over. So I
Oh my
like flipped back
gosh.
onto the ground, and our friends had to like pull him off.
And
And
this was
then like
6 months in.
probably. I mean, he was away. I
But I'm
think
saying like
six
you had
months in he
no
was away.
indication that he was violent.
Nah,
Mhm.
no.
And
He was
Julie,
you know.
you had mentioned this. What was the big thing for you? And also
Yeah.
Jesse, as someone who has experienced violence from a romantic partner, I'm sorry that that happened to you.
I look back and I've actually unfortunately bumped into him a few years ago when I was with someone else at a burlesque show, and I was with a new partner, and it was our anniversary, and we had a table at the front, and the front door was sort of like there, and I look over and he walks in the door with his girlfriend, and I was just like, who is his sister's best friend, by the way, who he left me for.
Yay, aren't you glad he left you?
Well, yeah, we were breaking down. We were toxic for each other, right? Like, I want to acknowledge we both got real toxic towards the end there. And then he ended up dating his sister's best friend, like, not long after. But he
He
walks
likes to
in
keep
with,
it close to home, doesn't
oh
he?
God. Walks in with her and he's drunk. And I was like, oh, thank God I got out of that. You know, after being all like, he'd got done for the DIU, the DIU, what do you call it here?
We
We call
say
it a
DUI.
DUI. You know, he's back to drink because he did a big thing at his work about like not drinking and driving and blah, blah, blah. And then he was drunk again and he messaged me and he was like, we should catch up after this. And I was thinking, I said to my partner at the time, I was like, over my dead body.
I find
Are
it
we
really-
catching up?
I find it really interesting that alcohol abuse is playing a factor or a role in all of our stories. Maybe that's something to look at. Julie, what about you?
Well, this was my ex-husband, and he was lovely for 6 months. We got engaged, and the crazies started coming out. Now, I think from a psychological standpoint, what they say with people who have different disorders is they are able to hold it in public, and when you get into that inner circle, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely changed. And we immediately were in couples counseling, and I had agreed to get married. So I stuck with this because I made that agreement. And my public service announcement is don't stay because you said yes to a proposal. If things aren't working, take care of yourself first and get out. Because I stayed with this man for 7 years. And on the one hand, he was a lovely, lovely human being, but he had some mental disorders that got in the way that he wasn't willing to take care of or capable of taking care of. And I finally had to choose myself because I couldn't live the rest of my life the way we were living.
Wow.
In hindsight, I look back though, and I said my error in that was when things got bad before we were married, saying I made a commitment that I'm going to stick with. Because that's how I was raised and that's what I was taught. And, I would encourage anybody looking at something like that to, I'm getting a little serious and somber here, but it's really important to remember to put yourself first. And if somebody's not going to be capable of making a shift, you don't owe them your life.
Yes. Thank you so much.
No,
And I can relate to that when I stay with my abusers. Like, yes, I had committed to so many things and I was so in over my head with the moving in and the engagement ring and everything that we said we were going to do and my family liking him. And when he started becoming violent, I was like, but everybody already knows and my stuff is already back in Germany. And yeah, you just like force yourself to do it. And I will also say along those lines, Julie and I were actually talking about this the other day about what being single can teach you and what having your own place how that can benefit you as a woman and how learning to, be confident and okay on your own. And that was one reason I didn't stay with Scurvy Boy very long, because when all of this shit started happening, I'm like, I don't need this shit. Get out.
Yeah.
And I think maybe honestly, I'm like, there's no reason for me to continue to put up with this at all. And it was really funny though, when we broke up, he comes to my door and he goes, you will never find a better man.
Eek. That's a bit of a red flag.
What? Where did you come up with that? So yes, a lesson would be become completely confident on your own so that you don't fall into this again.
I want to speak to that because it's very much like a self-confidence, and the reason I stayed in it for so long was that was all I thought I deserved.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Most
and
people-
so like, yeah, so I was like, we lived in multiple houses. That was all I thought that I was going to get. And I thought it was the best thing. And then when he was away overseas, I started doing personal development and like, because I was, again, young, 23 when I started doing all that sort of work. And when he came back, we'd just gone on different paths, right? And that's why I want to like acknowledge that, yes, he has very toxic traits, but we both became toxic to each other because it was like clashing all the time and it just wasn't going to sustain. And like Julie says, at some point you got to value yourself more and walk away. And I think it took me a while to even be okay with being alone because I was afraid of being alone for so long. So I would stay in that relationship because that was better than being single.
Yeah, I think that's probably why a lot of us did it in the past. I think that all of us are very confident women who are fine to walk away from things a lot easier. I mean, Christine, your situation was pretty extreme, but you pretty much you put the kibosh on that. As soon as you realized it was.
Yeah, when I got back, I kind of was like trying to surfacely keep it going only because we were embroiled into a business together, a production together. And I thought, oh God, I put in all this work and he can't proceed without me because the entire building of the production was mine. And so I felt like I at least owed him, to get through that. And he knew it was shit from the minute I got back. So he started gaslighting me. He started, acting very narcissistic.
He was talking shit about her on Clubhouse. It was weird.
Talking about me on Clubhouse. And then when I would hear it, I would say to him, this is not okay. And then he would lie and say, I was talking about my mother, not you. Think about yourself much. And I was like, you date your mom? You like your mom? Okay.
Weirdo.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess this will wrap up kind of soon. I think maybe Julie might be someone good to go to about this too. So we have all these cringy ass experiences. And I'm saying I would maybe need some more hypnotherapy because when I think about having sex with this guy for the last time, I am haunted by honestly. And this is okay. Maybe it was SRS, maybe it was just it had run its course. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we are going to talk about what to learn and how to move past this, how to move past the cringe, how to move past the SRS. I am passionate about the opportunity that a breakup gives us for a fresh start, but it can sure be hard to see that when you're heartbroken, right? I have worked with people all around the world to beat their breakups with my own 3-part process. I've created an ebook that guides readers through each step using practical advice straight from an experienced breakup coach. Click on the link at the top of the show notes and get your copy of the Broken Heart Repair Kit, the 3-step method for beating your breakup, at my special Sex and the Solo Girl release price of just $24.99. And remember, you've got this. Welcome back, everyone. I think we've shared some really cool stories. I want to give the floor out to my gorgeous friends and co-hosts here. Does anybody have maybe something about these people or the cringe or just something that stands out in your mind as far as what the fuck was I thinking that maybe you want to share? A story, an anecdote, if you will. Well, I guess not an anecdote, a story, a horrification, perhaps.
I don't have a horrification, but when I look back and I think about all of this, how I get myself into this situation is because I've got rose-colored glasses on and I think the best of everybody. And I think about their potential and what they could be. And I live in the future of what they can be rather than the present of who they really are.
I'm with you on that one.
That's not how I am at all. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
you're the opposite. Exactly. Yeah. But that's what, and there are these good parts and I hold on to that and I just have complete blinders onto the bad parts. I just completely don't see it and miss it.
Yeah.
And it's as I move forward and the proof points keep getting more and more that those rose-colored glasses are coloring
They're clearing
my
up.
viewpoint.
I was going to say, like, dating someone's potential, or like what you
Yes.
perceive as their potential, right? Like,
Yes.
100%. And now I just don't. I think that's the biggest difference. Now I look at someone and I'm like, no, I'm just going to date you for who you are right now, and not like, yes, you could be this great person, you could be this, but I need someone who's up to something in their life. I think that's the biggest thing. And how you shared, you said maybe due to him being younger or whatever, like he wasn't up to something by the sounds of, and it doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be the same realm as me. But these men, the two that I think about, they didn't. They were just happy going by with life. And I'm like, but there's nothing exciting there.
Yeah, I can relate to that with Scurvy Boy. I remember the first time when I asked him like if he has friends over on the weekends, and and when he said, I don't really have any friends. I mean, I know. I did think like, oh my God. And then to look, and now I know for a fact, work, sleep, drink, over and over again. And that was definitely never going to work for me. I think that's interesting. Christine, do you have any shockers about douche boy that you want to share?
Oh God. That 3 days was, honestly, I thought there were moments that I actually thought when he would get mad at me when I didn't want to sleep with him, when, after he took his clothes off and I saw his tiny wee wee, and I was like, this isn't gonna work anyway. And then I hated
this isn't gonna work.
It wasn't gonna work. I was like, how can you do anything with that? The thing about it is that as he got angrier and angrier at me, the more I pulled away from him while I was there. I thought I was going to be buried in the backyard at some point. Like I think I remember texting Janice going, I think I might die here. I got to get out of here.
Troubling.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to get out of here. I never grinned and bared it more than I did at that time. And I will never put myself ever in that situation again. And I think that with all of us and with all your listeners, people just need to give themselves grace and just remember that we all make mistakes. We shouldn't beat ourselves up about it. And if we don't learn from it, then kick yourself in the ass. But learn from it, grow from it, change your standards. Really take your time, because like all of us has said, it takes 3 to 6 months to learn how somebody is. Don't say you love someone. If someone says, oh, I love you, say, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. But I have a rule. I never say I love you before 6 months.
6?
No, I don't have that rule, but I'm saying maybe think about doing that. I mean, think about that. If you wait till after 6 months, then if you really know if this person has stayed true to who they were or even gotten better. But man, they fall fast.
Yeah, my recent was a few months in, and that actually did feel good, because Scurvy Boy, and one thing that I learned, and I'd maybe like everybody to go and say something that they, especially learned that helped them in the future, was I had taken this long hiatus from dating, because nothing was working out for me in Australia. My life was constantly in shambles because of relationships blowing up in my face. So I took a year off that turned into another year. And so when I met this person, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm dating again. And I found someone. And so that was another reason I didn't. And it was at least a month before I put anything on Facebook. But it was just like, boom, this isn't going to work out. And now I'm embarrassed. And now I'm disappointed because it's the first person I dated. And I guess I still don't know what I'm doing. So I felt bad for myself. I did. But it also helped me to realize that my susceptibility to love bombing is probably something that I will need to work on forever when it comes to relationships, because he went for it so hardcore, with the dinners and the trips and the presents and all of that. And also the I love yous so inappropriately early. And I refuse to say it. But yes, looking back, that was just an eye opener for myself. You got to keep your eye on this moving forward. I come from a really big family. I didn't have a lot of attention growing up. And yes, there's just something about someone just showering me with it that, makes me weak.
We're all susceptible. They're
Okay.
You know what? Some men are just born fucking charming. And
Okay.
I also think abusers have learned to be extremely charming. Mine was. I know yours was. I'm sure all of yours were. They're charmers. People love them. People think they're wonderful. It's easy to fall for that. So you know what? It happens to the best of us.
But it's something to keep your eye on, for sure. And my current relationship wasn't like that at all. Really, I have to say, like, not at all. And it's the best one I've had in a while. Yay. Janice is happy. Anybody else want to maybe talk about something, they learned in retrospect? And again, if something has come to mind that was really batshit crazy, feel free. Actually, I will say one thing. He took me away for the weekend. And I found out later that he hadn't had any money with him. And I kept on asking, like, aren't we going to go to like this particular restaurant that I really wanted? And he just kept on ignoring me. Like every time I said, I'm like, I'm dressed up. I thought we were going to go to this restaurant. And he like almost as though he didn't hear me. And he ends up taking me to a pizza place for like pizza by the slice, even though I am very well known to be completely gluten-free. And so then I don't eat at all. And then, he told me later that he hadn't gone with any money.
What? What?
Who goes on a trip with no money?
Who goes on a trip with no money?
Uh-huh.
What? Like, I say this knowing full well I went over to the States recently. I came into New York for a few days, but I was only there for a few days and I only needed to take like a little bit of money but what? No money?
No, it was really weird. It was, very kind of upsetting as well, because it was like a 4-hour drive to get there. And the whole time I'm just like, why are we sitting at the house and going to eat pizza? I don't understand this. This isn't what I had in mind at all. Just me.
Because he's allergic to, healthy food.
Well, how are you going to have your
vegetables.
woman? Well, again, yes, I guess that's a good point, Scurvy boy. But how are you going to have your woman like sitting next to you at a pizza place, like not eating anything?
Yeah, Well, you don't need to eat, do you?
I'm a woman.
I'm kidding.
I don't require food. All right. So maybe either final thoughts or final stories. Julie, do you want me to start with you or circle back?
Sure. Final thoughts are, as Christine said before, learn something from the experience. Like, it's not a failure if you learn, unless you didn't learn from your mistake. So give yourself grace, as Christine also said, be kind to yourself and realize we all have these experiences and we've got our rose-colored glasses on and when it's going on and we think it's all good. And hindsight's 20/20, man. And I can look through all of the things I've done, said I've done some things that probably not so smart in dating relationships. And, but I've continued to learn and grow and am excited for the great relationship that's coming to find me.
And it will. You're an amazing, amazing woman for a man who can, embrace that and rise to the challenge, I also think, which I do think, that we definitely all deserve. And you would be the prime example of that. I have a question. This just occurred to me. I have struggled a little bit with the cringe factor recently. I don't know why. This has just been coming more, been coming up for me more often. As I alluded to earlier, especially when it comes like some of the the sexual experiences that we had. Christine, I think that you can really relate to this. I mean, any tips for letting that go? I guess it's a mindfulness issue.
Well, I'm all about rituals. So maybe you write down all the things that you feel cringy about, all the things that maybe you would wanted to be different or better. and then, fold it and burn it and release it, flush it down the toilet, just like that relationship deserved, and maybe just figure out a way that works for you to let it go. Because if I look back on what half the shit I've done, I'd be cringing all the time. So it's like, I just take it as a learning experience that I tried something. It's like my daughter makes fun of me still to today, that she's like, you said you loved him. And I was like, yes, I did. In the moment, I did. I loved what he said to me. I loved how he was talking to me. I loved how I felt in the moment. But it's like, write it out, burn it, let it go, and maybe just give yourself a little bit of break. We all do stupid shit in our life.
I am perfectionist for sure, and a slight control freak. And so I think that I take it a little harder to look back and think that I did something that wasn't in my best interest, or something that I do feel a little embarrassed about. So that, I think, probably plays into it a lot.
You were in that place to learn a lesson. That's how I look at everything. You were there to learn something. Maybe reflect what it is that you gained from it. And then know that was your purpose for that. And then let the rest of it go.
I didn't know I was coming here for a little bit of group therapy. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Jess. Also, I have to say, I adore you and I miss you so much.
I miss you too. We're working on it. We're working on coming somewhat. I want to come up to Denver so bad.
It's been a year. It's been kind of weird that we haven't been able to figure it out. But
I know, sad. But life has happened. I guess like looking back, I was a very different human, through that process, and even through other relationships prior to like where I am now. And I am like, oh, what was I thinking a lot of the time? But then I remember that I wasn't. Like, if I explained who I am now to like 19, 20-year-old me, she would not be impressed with who I am, let alone, like, I was a prude, I was judgmental, I was not, and I will say this.
You're saying that you wouldn't be approving of your former self?
I would not, my former self would not approve of who I am now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Like, so I've grown so much that prior me would just be like, if I was to say, like, go back in time and introduce myself to prior me, there's just no way. She would just be like, what the fuck? So, like, I have grown and I've gotten self-confidence and I've done the work, and I'm grateful for these relationships, I guess, as shitty as they were, because I learned something, and so when said crazy ex-boyfriend rings me 10 years later to ask if he thinks our last sexual interaction was rape, I'm like, you're fucking insane. You're like, I mean, literally, but also like, I haven't thought about you in years. Like, I don't care. If I bump into you in public, I'll be nice to you. I have no issue with you. And the same with, like, it did happen with the abusive one. Like, we literally bumped into each other in public and I was like, whatever, I have no feeling for you. But it's because I've gone through so much growth, and because I've had to change who I am. I was a shitty human too, so no one's perfect. We all fuck up. We all make mistakes. And I think like Christine said, we're there to learn something. And my mom growing up always used to be like, people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime.
That is so...
It's my favorite one.
It's my favorite thing. Friends, relationships, everything. Like, people come in, and if they go, then you can be like, okay, well, maybe that was a reason. And it's easier to reflect on what happened, I find, if it was like, oh yeah, it was a season, or it was a reason, and then they've gone, and I can be, it still sucks, but I can look back and be like, that wasn't meant to be in my life forever. And it's okay. And I've met way better people because of it, and because I'm polyamorous or non-monogamous and date multiple genders, I'm very fortunate that I get to interact with a lot of people, and because I find myself more relationship fluid these days, again, would have blown my 20-year-old's brains out, would have been like, what is this? You don't want one relationship and to like just be with them for what? But because I'm relationship fluid, a lot of my relationships these days just flow. And like, yes, there's cringy things with one of my other closer ex-partners that I lived with over lockdown. There's a lot of problems there, but we're still good now. We have one thing that we connect, well, a couple of things that we connect over very well, which you know about. It was in a podcast.
Go look at episode 11 of Sex and the Solo Girl. It is called The Anal Sex Chronicles #1.
Yeah, that. So him and I have that in common now, and like we connect over that, and we still care deeply for each other. Would I be in a relationship with him ever again? Oh, fuck no. Oh, hell no. Like, but he doesn't want to be in a relationship, and we figured that one out, right? Like, he's quite happy doing his own thing, and we still care for each other deeply. But I think if I hadn't have gone through all of these phases of life, I wouldn't be able to be in that position where I can still be friends with him. And some people don't understand it. One of the guys I'm seeing right now is like, I don't understand why you still, he gave you all that grief. And I'm like, because we're not in a relationship anymore. I don't have to deal with that anymore. Like that's his, doesn't worry me. It's not affecting my life.
Oh, Jessie, I'm so glad to be friends with you and so glad for your perspective. I think that it's great to have someone non-monogamous to talk about the evolution of relationships and looking back on things. So yes, thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you, Julie Demsey, for sharing everything. And what a story. I have to say, I've never dated probably most of my significant partners have been almost exactly to the month, 2 years younger than me.
What?
2 years, including Chris. Everybody almost 2 years. My husband, German boy, 2 years, but I've never really gone so much younger than that. So thank you for sharing your story. Do you want to share how much younger he was? So. It's nice. Who said that?
Me. Okay. I only date younger.
This is true.
We'll just say he wasn't the biggest age discrepancy I've been with. So we'll leave it at that.
Yes, Julie.
Age discrepancy. I never thought about it. What a hot episode for Sex and the Solo Girl. Ooh, I did date someone much older than me. Who was the most immature man of all of them. I would
see. I date older, hoping they're slightly more mature because men.
I like
my age.
Older. Knowing me, you would think that I would go older, but it just happens that I don't. It's 2 years. I don't know.
It's funny. Femme bodies, younger. I don't mind either way. Male bodies, I'm like, give me older because you're just too immature.
Also, I like the body hair. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, so. I do now. I never used to, and now I'm like,
fuzz it up.
Again, another thing 19-year-old Jessie would be like, oh, what are you doing?
All right. What the hell was I thinking? What a fun conversation. What would you like the four of us to cover in the future? I'm actually going out to meet some friends right now, and I think that I'm going to be skipping down the street because this was an absolute blast. Thank you to each of you. I'm so, so, so blessed to have you in my lives or in my life. I'm so blessed to have you in my life. And also I will say, just as far as like staying on the personal development train, I've only met the three of you because of being in a good place and being so high vibe. So Yay. Everyone do it. Thank you to my listeners. Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On. And thank you to my listeners, Sex and the Solo Girl. This is really exciting that some of these I will be able to drop on both shows because it's perfectly applicable to both audiences. So yay. Thank you so much. And how about everybody say bye?
See you.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Bye. All right. Christine's like, Thank you for listening to Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On with Janice Formichella. I sincerely hope that you found today's episode inspirational or useful. I would love to support you on your healing journey. All you have to do is send me a message on Instagram at Breakups Podcast or email me at breakupspodcast@gmail.com, and I will be in touch to get you started. Remember, if you are struggling with a broken heart, your feelings are temporary. I am sending you so much love and luck for the week ahead. You've got this.